Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Nation's Pastime in the Nation's Capital. I'm your host, Andrew Snaith, here with my co-hosts, James Higgins and Robbie Cruz. And just like Babe Ruth, now Mookie Betts has also been traded from the Red Sox, a generational talent on the move from Boston to another big market. That's right, Mookie Betts last night confirmed by Jeff Passan and many, many others to be heading to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And you can bet we're going to talk all about that and the other trades and the complexity of that three-team trade on tonight's edition. But before we do that, thank you so much for tuning in. We are live, as you know, every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. here on WCUA Radio. And you can also find our shows posted in podcast form the day after, and that is on our Twitter. Follow that. That is at @PastimeCap. All of our shows posted on there. There's links to YouTube. You can go ahead and listen to it through there. And also just follow our Twitter for general updates on the show as well. Always good to go ahead and give that a follow. Once again, that's at @PastimeCap. So let's get right into the show. We have a lot to talk about. Before we get in there, also, if you want to call in at any time, we have, I know, a lot of Red Sox fans probably listening who want to discuss their opinions on this trade here.
And one on the show.
And one on the show here who I'm sure will be saying a few things about his take on the organization and their choice to move Mookie Betts. But anyway, if you want to go ahead and call in, that number is 202-319-5106, 202-319-5106. So with that said, Mookie Betts and David Price are a Dodger. You know what? Before we get into the actual takes on it, why don't we go ahead and just say the exact trade? Because it was a pretty complex trade. I know last night when me and Robbie were monitoring the situation, we kept wondering who that third team was. It was reported there was a third team in the trade, and it turned out to be the Minnesota Twins. So the trade, straight up, James, you want to go ahead and tell us what the trade was?
So it was Mookie Betts and David Price, along with $48 million of Price's remaining $96 million, which is half of Price's contract, to the Dodgers. Kenta Maeda went from the Dodgers to the Twins. Alex Verdugo went from the Dodgers to the Red Sox. And Brewstar Graterol went from the Twins to the Red Sox.
So there you go. That's the trade right there. A three-team trade. The Twins getting some pitching help that they needed, having to give up a big, hard-throwing prospect in Graterol there. And then, of course, the Red Sox doing the inevitable and trading superstar Mookie Betts along with David Price dumping some of his salary for their main return of outfielder Alex Verdugo. Now, before we get into the main take here from James, who I'm sure has a few things that he'd like to say about it, Robbie, as a Yankees fan, how are we feeling about Mookie Betts leaving the AL East?
I think that as a Yankee fan, I think that that's a pretty big win. Anytime your rival loses probably the second best player in baseball, I think that's absolutely terrific. But what stood out to me about this trade was the biggest loser in this trade, and to me, that was the Minnesota Twins. I thought that the Twins were the biggest loser in this trade because they gave up a top pitching prospect for Kenta Maeda. Maeda's good, but is he worth a top prospect?
No, I don't think so at all.
I don't think so either. So, to me, I didn't understand why they gave up so much to get Maeda. I like the Red Sox return. I don't think that they really had a choice. I think that Mookie Betts was going to leave either way. At least you get Alex Verdugo, who I know you and I disagree, but I believe that he's going to be incredibly special one day. I think that the other right-handed pitcher that they got, I think he could be okay. But also, just saving all that money, I think that's absolutely terrific. Now, I think the Yankees are going to have to face the Dodgers in the World Series, and quite frankly, I'm excited because that's 4 lefties in the Dodger rotation, so that's going to be huge for the Yankees. That's something that I don't think enough people were talking about, so that's kind of how I'm feeling about it from a Yankee fan perspective.
All right, very fair indeed. Now let's move on to James, and go ahead, just give us your overall outlook on this trade. Last night, you saw the news. Mookie Betts and David Price are headed to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Initial thoughts, what was going through your mind?
I didn't want my favorite player to be traded, and he was.
That's very understandable.
Mookie's a generational talent. He has 42 win above replacement through his first 6 seasons. That was there were 7 guys in front of him. 6 are in the Hall of Fame, and the other one is Albert Pujols, who is a future Hall of Famer through his age 27 season. So. Oh, excuse me. There were 8 guys in front. 6 are Hall of Famers. The other is Albert Pujols and Mike Trout. Both guys that are, I think we can both say, are future Hall of Famers.
I'd think so.
Probably.
Yeah.
So Mookie Betts right now is on a very good statistical trajectory. He had a chance to be one of the greatest statistical players in Red Sox history, both from a statistical standpoint and from an impact standpoint. Being with the same team his whole career, yada yada yada, all that. But here's my drawn-out thoughts 24 hours later, now that I've had some time to think about it, listen to what different people have said, about the return and all that. So I think initially, I think overall, the Red Sox didn't have a choice. They had to trade Betts because they knew they weren't going to sign him to an extension pre-free agency. They offered him 10 years, $300 million, and he countered their offer with 12 years, $420 million. And so the average annual value he's asking for that contract is $35 million, and I think that's very fair for a player for a caliber of a player like Mookie Betts. He's not Mike Trout. He's not going to get Mike Trout money, but he's the second best player in baseball. And $35 million, he's setting the bar for the next generation of superstars, and he's setting the bar for himself because he's not going to go above Mike Trout's bar. $35 million is very fair for a player as good as Mookie Betts. The biggest problem was the years. I would not have an issue giving him a 9 or 10-year contract with an average annual value of $35 million, but I would have an issue with giving him 12 years because then you're paying him in his age 38 and 39 season where he's not going to be putting up the same production, and that's the biggest issue the Red Sox had as well. So they came to those crossroads, and they knew they had to trade him, which I totally understand. I'm fine with that. But I would say, like, I don't like the people saying, I understand the Red Sox offer of 10 years, $300 million. Like, I understand how some people are saying that it's unfair because, like, he'll get $35 million average annual value most likely in free agency. But what upsets me the most is the return that the Red Sox got. Because throwing Price in the trade as a salary dump, 48 of the $96 million, which is half of the contract, is what killed the value. Yes, Alex Verdugo is a solid player. He had 294 last year, 12 homers in 106 games, and he was a 3-win player. He was the number 39 prospect going into the season last year, and he will immediately start in right field for the Red Sox. And playing in left field, I can see him playing Pepper with the monster. And then you have someone like Brewstar Graterol, who's at the major league level mostly unknown. He came up in September last year, but he throws 100 miles an hour, has a decent slider. Fastball's got movement to it. He's got a solid third pitch and a curveball, but he needs to solidify the slider as a legit second pitch because right now he really only has one pitch. So the Red Sox should have, I feel like for the second best player in the baseball, the Red Sox should have maximized their return for Mookie Betts instead of focusing more on dumping salary with David Price. I understand they needed to get under the luxury tax, but getting rid of Mookie Betts would have done just that. And I wish they would have, if they got rid of Price, they would have had the Dodgers take on less salary so they could have gotten another player back with Verdugo. I'm not upset that they got Verdugo back. I think he's a good player. I think he will produce for the Red Sox. My biggest thing is why didn't they go get more? Why didn't they try to get a Gonsolin or a Ruiz or even a Will Smith to come back with Betts? It's because Price was in the deal and the Dodgers are taking on so much of his salary. But I will say, the Red Sox now have financial flexibility, which is what Chaim Bloom wanted. It's what ownership wanted for the most part. Now they have financial flexibility to sign other players. But here's the thing. What are you going to use that financial flexibility on? Because the prospects that you have or the prospects that you trade for, you hope they turn into somebody like a Mookie Betts, the guy who you just traded off your team. Like, you all hope they turn into a Mookie Betts kind of guy, but he's the guy you already have Mookie Betts there. You already have the second best player in baseball. Like, I think that's the most frustrating thing for me is that you hope that those guys turn into Betts, but you already had one in your team and you just didn't want to overpay, which I understand not wanting to overpay, but they didn't make a competitive offer in my estimation.
I just think that's a very good point, by the way, about the salary.
But I'm sorry if I went on too long.
But not at all.
I wanted to get everything out there.
Yeah.
And do you guys agree with that? Like,
here's the thing. I think your last point about the salary dump is that's the one that I honed on when I saw this deal actually unfold and saw how much of Price was going to be paid.
Yeah, it was more about a salary dump than anything.
But here's the thing. In my opinion, as the Red Sox as an organization and being as much of a cash cow organization that they are, that's embarrassing.
Can I get into this now? Because I know you wanted me
to.
Well, no.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, that is just, I hope you feel like this as a Red Sox fan. That's utterly embarrassing that they had to go ahead and trade away a generational talent, a guy who put up a 10-win season, right? In 2018.
That might have been the best season of the decade by anyone. And 346. 32 homers from leadoff
and they had to trade that for essentially one top prospect just so they could unload salary. And that's just utterly embarrassing, in my opinion.
Can I get into that now? Because I did want to spread out the points, but here we go. The Red Sox are the most valuable franchise in baseball in terms of what they are worth. They're more valuable than the Yankees. John Henry is a very valuable man. He raised ticket prices by 3.7% after an 84-win season. Like, how much money does he need? The Red Sox have the money to do it. I understand not wanting to pay in the luxury tax penalties and wanting your draft picks to be docked. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the Red Sox cannot try to sell this to fans as they don't have the money. They have the money. They're worth what, $5 billion, $6 billion, whatever it's worth.
And 5.6.
It's five. Yeah. And John Henry is a multi-billion. Like, he's worth $2 or $3 billion himself. Just as him as individual, owning the Red Sox and owning Liverpool. Don't tell me you don't have the money. Like, I understand not wanting to pay Betts in his age 38 and 39 season, like I alluded to earlier. But don't try to say this is because you didn't have the money. The Red Sox have the money, whether it's through like ticket revenue. Like, the Red Sox have the money, and they have one of the most loyal fan bases in all of sports, not just in baseball, in all of sports. And to do this to the fan base, myself included, like, that's honestly, I kind of find it sickening.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Like, I'm not trying to take it to an extreme where like Mookie Betts absolutely deserves $40 million a year. No, nobody does except for Mike Trout, and Mike Trout's not even getting $40 million a year right now. Like, Mookie Betts will get $35 million a year in free agency, but don't try to tell me you didn't have the money to try to give him a competitive offer. If you offered him 10 years, $350, and he turned it down, that's a completely different story. Like, yes, that's still $70 million off than the $12,420, but at least the same average annual value. At least you're trying. Every time they've gone to negotiations with Betts, they've been over $100 million off. Can I play this out real quick?
Yeah.
After 2016, his runner-up season to Trout, they offered him 5 years, $100 million, where the market was probably calling for like 8 years, $175 to $200 million. Then after 2017, they offer him 8 years, $200 million, where the market at that point is probably calling for 10 years, $275 to $300 million. And now they offer him 10 years, $300 million, where the market isn't necessarily calling for $420 million, but obviously he's going to start there and go down. He's probably going to get around $350 million in free agency. So you've been off by more than $100 million every single time you've negotiated with your best player. And not only your best player, one of the best players in the sport and one of the best players we've seen this century. Somebody who, if he continues on this career path, will be a Hall of Famer. So, like, that's the thing. The Red Sox just traded away a phenomenal player. The thing I'm most upset about is the return they got. They didn't capitalize on maximizing their return for a generational talent.
Yes, I would agree absolutely with that. If you're interested in calling in with your thoughts here about Mookie Betts, we're just chatting about the trade here and the return for the Red Sox. Again, that number is 202-319-5106.
Wearing his jersey today, we'll wear a shirt tomorrow, and wear my Price shirt on Friday. I want to thank them both for 2018. Just a personal thank you to both of them. The Red Sox would not have won the World Series in 2018 without both of them. Mookie Betts, one of the best seasons I've ever seen in 2018, 346, 32 homers, 30 stolen bases out of the leadoff spot, was the catalyst of the greatest season in Red Sox history. And then David Price, he should have been the World Series MVP. He had 2 great starts in the World Series. Phenomenal start against Houston in the ALCS. They wouldn't have been world champions without both of them in 2018.
I will say, when it comes to the Red Sox defense, though, and I understand that, understandably, like we already said, it's embarrassing that it had to come to this point because of the bad deals that were made to put them in this position where they needed financial flexibility, and also needed is used very loosely there. But in their defense, like we said, it had to be done because we knew this entire time Mookie Betts needed to reach free agency, and he wanted that more than anything. He wanted
to go to free agency, yes.
What was that,
But
Rob?
here's my thing. Why did you have to include David Price in the package? You could have
Salary
just
dump.
No, I'm saying you could have traded David Price in a separate deal, and you probably could have gotten at least something.
Oh, yes.
I know the Angels would have taken that contract.
Yes, I've explored it. Don't worry, I've explored everything in my head, and
it would have made more sense because a team like the Angels would have been more willing because they need starting pitching.
And you can maximize your return for Betts, which is the thing that would have been most important. You rebuilt the farm and you get under the tax at the same time.
So who is this? Is this Bloom's fault?
No,
Do you think
it's
it's
John Henry's fault.
Okay, here's the thing. They had the option. They had the option to trade David Price, and they did, which was smart. But you did. To me, it's not smart to include him in the Mookie Betts trade. You trade him in a separate deal, then you trade Mookie Betts in a separate deal. 2 different trades, and you get good deals. And you're going to get a lot more than Alex Verdugo for Mookie Betts. I think that they could have gotten at least one other good player.
Oh yeah, they could have easily gotten someone else.
They could have gotten like Tony Gonsolin or
like a Will Smith,
Justin May.
Ruiz, or even Will Smith.
Yeah.
I don't think May was going anywhere just because of like the Dodgers wanting to hold on to him.
They love him.
They really like him in Lux.
But if you get Gonsolin or Ruiz, like that's a very, very solid return. So I think this is more on ownership, more on John Henry than Chaim Bloom. Chaim Bloom came into Boston with his hands tied and inherited a mess, and he got even more of a mess when the whole Astros thing came out when he had to fire Cora. Like he inherited a mess, and this is not his fault. And he was told by ownership to get under the tax, and if he had to trade Betts, he had to do so, and he had to try to find the best possible deal. But I think he also had his hand tied in saying that you also have to trade Price in this. Ownership definitely had a big say in this.
Yeah, I would agree. So. Yeah.
I really don't blame this on Chaim Bloom. This is more on John Henry, especially. You want to raise ticket prices and then try out another 84-win team? Get out of here.
Now, did they include? Would you say that they included David Price in the deal because he still had some talent, or it was just a complete salary dump?
It had to be a salary dump, right?
No, I would say they included Mookie Betts in a David Price trade because they needed to get rid of the salary.
Well, I was going to say, if you're doing a complete salary dump,
like
I would have traded Nathan Eovaldi before David Price.
That,
So who would have wanted him?
Nobody
though?
would have wanted
What's that?
that.
Who would've
Nobody
wanted him?
No,
that.
I'm saying like if you had the option to if you were looking to just have a complete salary dump and then include Mookie Betts in it.
Oh well,
then I would have
see what
included
you're
a guy
saying.
like Nathan.
Well, they
Eovaldi.
probably would have got even less back if
They
it
would've
was
got- they would-
Eovaldi.
Yeah, they would have gotten less.
Like they probably
still
would have
would've
gotten
gotten
Verdugo.
Verdugo.
They might have got a less guy than Verdugo.
No,
maybe.
I don't
But
think they
then
would have
what if?
gotten. I don't
What if they traded Eovaldi and Mookie Betts to the Dodgers and then David Price to the Angels in some other deal?
I mean, I'm sure all of this was discussed, but I think this is the reality they were faced with, unfortunately. But they should have maximized their return for Mookie. That's the biggest thing for me. They should have, because their farm system is still barren.
Yeah.
Like they got Graterol, but Verdugo is going to be on the major league team. He's going to be starting in right field. Like their farm system is still barren. They didn't maximize their return for the second best player. And if you keep Betts, then you still have a competitive offense in 2020. If the pitching turns around, maybe you surprise everyone. But now they have clearly shown that they're punting on 2020.
To be fair, I understand. Again, like I was saying earlier, I understand why they did it. But if I was the Red Sox, I really would have waited until at least the deadline to see where the team was. Because, like I said, Mookie Betts is going to reach free agency no matter what. It's something he's desired for so long. You know why. He hasn't wanted to sign an extension. He knows how much money he's going to get from some teams out there. But at least wait until the deadline, because if, like you just said, if you're in it, then stick with them. Maybe try and make the playoffs. Then if you're not, and then you decide to give up, then trade him.
I'd rather have a good season to get nothing for him than this return.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure most fans agree with that.
Because I understand why they have to trade Betts. Like the contract, not disputes, but the contract negotiations stalled. All that. Like I get that he wasn't signing an extension, but that doesn't mean you just trade him for Verdugo and Graterol and nothing else. Like I get the salary dump was the big portion of it, but. We talked about this all offseason, how the Red Sox were going to have to maximize their return, and I don't think they did.
I don't think they did. Robbie, you think they did?
Like, I think Verdugo is solid. Like, I'm not saying it was horrible, but it was still pretty bad. Their return was still pretty bad.
My thing is, if they're just completely blowing it up, who would be the next piece to go for the Red Sox?
JD Martinez.
It would be him, or do you think they're trying to get Chris Sale on the market as well? I mean,
no, he's gonna have to
prove himself, right?
Year with his contract.
I still think he easily could do that. He's Chris Sale.
No, I think he's gonna have a great bounce back year.
Yeah.
That's like one of the. I'm looking forward to watch Sale, Bogarts, Devers, and Martinez this year. That's it.
Yeah, that's very fair. How about let's flip it over to the other side though with the Los Angeles
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
We should talk about
because
the
Mookie Betts is now their starting right fielder. Before we talk about what that means for the Dodgers, let's talk about the other trade that they made late last night. And that, of course, is sending their other odd man out outfielder Jock Peterson to the Angels, along with Ross Stripling, to the Angels for I think it was two prospects, right? It was one or two prospects.
Just one.
There was just the one guy.
Did Renfroe come back?
Renfroe.
I mean, not Renfroe. Luis.
It was a shortstop. His name was Luis.
I know who it
was.
was.
An S.
Yeah, it was that. It was that shortstop.
Yeah.
But the Angels, picking up a solid bat in Peterson and a solid arm in Ross Stripling, not bad at all. And of course, don't really think the Angels are gonna be doing anything to just give them a second here, but. That is a very good starting lineup.
That's a good outfield too.
It's a very good outfield.
You got
Trout,
Upton,
yeah.
Trout, and
they're making moves to try to get Trout back in the playoffs within the next few years. Rendon,
and I respect that.
Ohtani, they're not going to be there this year.
No,
division's tough, but within the next few years, they could be a wild card.
Not only
team.
that bullpen, they need some more pieces.
Is their closer
still
Berdosian? I think it is.
No,
right?
it's probably Hansel Robles.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that bullpen needs help. That rotation
Felix
after Ohtani is a black
Berdosian.
hole. Their number 2 is what? Teheran, right? I don't even know who else you'd put up there. Bundy.
Ohtani,
That's right. They got Bundy. Yeah.
Bundy.
It's not great.
Now Ross Stripling.
But it is cool to see that, like you said, see them make moves to try and get Trout back to the playoffs. It's a very good lineup. You got Peterson in that lineup, like you said. The additions of Rendon is still there. You have Tommy La Stella coming off a fantastic season. Signed Jason Castro, another really underrated signing there, I think. So overall, hey, good move for the Angels to go ahead and capitalize on an odd man out outfielder from the Dodgers. But let's go back to those Dodgers, because the Los Angeles Dodgers, coming off a 106-win season, now just added probably the second best player in baseball.
The Dodgers are loaded and have 3 of the top 6 position players. 3 of the top 6 position players reside in Los Angeles. 2 of those 6 are on the Dodgers.
It's ridiculous. Mookie Betts is now going to be batting leadoff for them on a lineup that already has MVP Cody Bellinger in it, who already has Corey Seager coming back.
Former All-Star, former Rookie of the Year.
Unbelievable.
Former All-Star Max Muncy. Former All-Star Justin Turner. Former All-Star
Will Smith coming off a great rookie season.
Gavin Lux, Rookie of the Year favorite in the National League.
He's going to be their starting third baseman?
Second
baseman.
Former All-Star A.J. Pollock. If he stays healthy, he'll have a good year.
He gets a starting role now, I guess, right?
Pollock's left.
Yes, he would get a starting role with Peterson going out, which makes sense because they did sign him to that 5-year deal last year.
Yep.
Still not a fan of that deal. They're just really not looking good now.
The A.J. Pollock deal?
No.
Oh, no, that was
great at all.
Abysmal.
But nevertheless, if he can stay healthy and put together a good season, we know what he's capable of. And, yeah, just the Los Angeles Dodgers. At this point, you know
It's
that
World
they
Series
see
or
that,
bust for the LA Dodgers in 2020.
But it almost has been for the past couple years.
Well, here's the thing: like the Dodgers haven't been able to get over the hump of winning the World Series, and Mookie is maybe one of the only 7 players in the game who can take you from a great team to a World Series team. And this, I think the Dodgers are the perfect team for a 1-year rental for Mookie Betts in 2020.
Oh, I think they are too. The Padres made absolutely no sense to me when I was hearing those rumors. But the Dodgers, if there's a team that was going to get Mookie Betts and use him to the most advantage,
if the Red Sox were going to get, if the Red Sox were going to make that trade with the Padres, it sounded like Will Myers was going to go back to the Red Sox.
They were not going to take on that bad
And I don't
contract.
think that the Red Sox had any intentions or inclinations of taking that contract whatsoever.
No, not at all. And like you just said,
the Dodgers are loaded, and they got Buehler, Kershaw, Price, all to spearhead the top of the rotation. Alex Wood. Yeah, they're loaded. They can beat and now this is the team that you look at that can beat the Yankees. This is the team that will challenge the Yankees in the World Series and that can beat them. Because going into this trade, there was no clear team who could beat the Yankees coming out of the NL. We thought maybe the Nationals, maybe the Braves, maybe the Dodgers pre-Mookie, but there was no definite team.
I don't even think the Braves. I think a lot of people forget that the Braves have no starting pitching besides Soroka. But anyway, yes.
But the Dodgers are the team now the Dodgers are the team to challenge the Yankees. Yes. Absolutely. They're the team to challenge the Yankees, and I think they can do it.
But, of course, in the glory of baseball, the entire season will have to be played out, and anything could happen, and it's very likely that we will not see these two teams in the World Series. But as for now, and I think Las Vegas agrees, your favorites for the World Series in 2020 are the Yankees versus the Dodgers.
But right now, they're far and away the 2 best teams.
Without question.
One of these teams is making the World Series.
Yes, I think that's very, very fair to say. And honestly, I don't see how it can't be the Yankees real quick. And I don't like praising the Yankees, but after what they went through last year with all the injuries and still managed to be as good as they were, and now they have all that back healthy plus Garrett Cole. Oh my goodness.
Minus James Paxton
as well. Why don't we talk about that real quick? He's missing 7 weeks, I believe.
3 months at least.
Yeah. What's the injury on that? I forget. Was it back?
It's a back issue.
Injury?
Now,
yeah.
I'm infuriated with the New York Yankees because they knew that this was an issue last year before the playoffs. Before he started Game 2 of the ALCS last year, James Paxton had back issues. The Yankees knew about it, and they chose not to do anything about it. Now, you wait until the week before spring training to do something? Before they report, that's when you decide to do something about it? Why are they waiting this long to take care of this issue when you had the entire offseason to let James Paxton get back surgery?
Maybe it wasn't as bad at the end of the season, though.
Yeah, he was probably thinking a little bit of rest and rehab kind of thing, which is what most guys opt for before surgery because that's the last thing they want to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it could not have come at a worse time because now J.A. Happ is going to be in our starting rotation. He probably would have been either way, but I not want to see J.A. Happ.
Well, I saw a very good.
Okay, don't be upset that they'll only finish 8 games ahead of the Rays instead of 13.
That's why. No, I'm not too terribly upset about it because I don't think that this is going to change how the Yankees do. Knock on the wood, they got to stay healthy this year.
Yeah.
I get it. We got Garrett Cole, but you still need some pitching. If Garrett Cole gets injured, it's not looking good after that.
I don't think you have to worry about that, though, unless it's some freak thing. He's been a pretty durable guy.
No, he's been a durable guy, but the point is we need to stay healthy this year.
Yes.
And we can't keep having reoccurring injuries like this if we're going to be able to win.
Didn't you guys
AL East.
finally fire your trainer, or do you have a new one?
Yankees fired their
I know you were
not everybody in the training staff. Steve Donahue's still there.
Yeah.
He's always going to be around because he's been around for such a long time. But,
yeah.
Well, to go back to your other point about the Yankees and the Dodgers,
yes.
I understand what you're saying about the Yankees being healthy and adding Cole, but you think about the Dodgers, they're adding at least a 7-win player to an already phenomenal team.
It's scary. It really is. I mean, it's hard to see somebody taking them down, especially let alone the division, just in the NL.
I think the Dodgers are more motivated than the Yankees because their window is closing sooner.
Oh my goodness, their window's closing so fast.
I don't know because the Dodgers have a pretty strong farm system, don't they?
I mean, they do, but you got to remember this is a team that's made the World Series 2 of the last 3 years, and then last year didn't even make it.
And that division's getting stronger.
The entire division. You got Arizona, who's making great trades, who has
Arizona's
great young guys.
Arizona's sneaky wild card team.
Yeah, and then you have the Padres, who of course we all know what they've been doing the past couple years. I mean, it's a division that's getting better and better. And then of course you have the Rockies and Giants, who aren't really doing anything. But yeah, I mean that's my point there. It's not even that they're getting less talented as they lose players. It's that the rest of the division's going to get more and more talented. And before you know it, you get to get a team like Arizona, who's got 2 studs in Escobar and Ketel Marte, who just signed Bumgarner, who made a great trade for Starling Marte, who already has a fantastic team that could easily sneak their way in there if the Dodgers aren't careful. So
not
I think
this
that
year,
a big
but the future.
No, not this year. I'm talking about the future.
Do you guys think that Mookie Betts will re-sign with the? I know it's a little bit early,
I think he'll reach free agency, but we'll see. But can I get to the point of what he said to Jim Rice, which is probably
so apparently Mookie Betts said something to Jim Rice, right?
Was on MLB radio, and he said, This is like air quotes because this isn't exactly what he said. But
Jim Rice on what was it? MLB Radio?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was Sirius XM.
Okay,
Yeah. But he apparently Mookie told Jim Rice that Boston was home and he wanted to play there forever. But here's the point that I want to make. You can't have both sides of it if you're Mookie. You can't have wanting to go in free agency, but also saying, oh, no, they traded me. I wanted to stay in Boston at the same time. And to bring up a point that Carabas and a couple other Red Sox people have brought up, like, you can't price yourself out and be bummed because, yes, like, Bogarts and Pedroia both took discounts to stay in Boston. They are not on the same stratosphere as Betts. I'm not trying to compare those players, but Xander Bogaerts said he wanted to stay in Boston. He probably could have gotten $170 to $200 million in the open market. He took $120 million to stay with the Red Sox. Pedroia probably could have gotten $150 on the open market in 2014. He took $110 million to stay with the Red Sox. So like they knew they wanted to stay, and you're not talking about $350 million, but you're still talking like at this point millions are millions. Like you and your kids and your grandkids will still be set regardless of the money that you're getting.
Yeah, you're never going to spend this money in your lifetime.
Exactly. So like they got what they got, and I respect them for it. But Betts can't play both sides of it saying, I wanted to stay in Boston forever, but I also want to reach free agency, get the most money out of it. If you want to stay in Boston forever, fine, I totally respect that. But don't play both sides. You can't play both sides. Like that is one thing that bothers me a little bit. You can't play both sides of wanting to get the most money while also wanting to stay in the same place. Then if you want to stay in Boston, agree to the 10-year, $300 million contract, which I still think is kind of, for Mookie Betts, a low ball offer. And a lot of people can't fathom that, but like he is so good at his job that not even $300 million is fair pay in terms of what the market is indicating for him.
Yeah.
But like Mookie can't play both sides when that offer was on the table, and he could have just taken it to stay in Boston if he wanted to.
See, I think that's a very interesting perspective to look at from the Mookie Betts side, because obviously what he's trying to do with that, what he told Jim Rice there, is try to sell himself to Boston. Like, hey guys, I wanted to stay, but it wasn't working out.
Look worse.
It does make him look worse. It makes him look like
I don't hate him any less, but it just makes him look worse. Like, dude, if you really wanted to stay, then just take the offer. That's still a low offer.
Right.
Like low offer in his terms, but it's still a phenomenal offer.
If you really wanted to stay, you could have, essentially.
Yes.
So don't be saying you want to stay and at the same time want to reach the market.
It's not like they offered him $50 million for 3 years. And
also, who is his agent, by the way? I know he's not a Boris client.
Sam and Seth. It's the same guys who Pedroia had.
Oh, it's the Pedroia guys. Okay.
My thing though is, Mookie Betts, I think he wanted to stay in Boston. I just don't think that the money was there. I think the money was the biggest reason as to why.
When he was with the Red Sox, the whole time I kept saying, I think he wants to stay in Boston, but he also wants to reach free agency just to see what he wants. And I think he loved playing in Boston. He loved being in Boston. He started to raise a family there, all that. But here's the thing that gets dangerous is that when you go somewhere else to play, you realize that sometimes the grass is greener, and you enjoy playing other places. Like John Lester, he said before he got traded from the Red Sox, you're going to have to rip this jersey off my back. And he didn't want to go. He didn't want to get traded, but the Red Sox traded him. Once he went to the A's, he realized, dang, it's not that bad playing somewhere else. And that's why he ended up signing with the Cubs. Whereas I think if the Red Sox just held on to him, he would have re-signed there that offseason. So, I think the Red Sox just lost a lot of flexibility with Betts, whereas if they had just held on to him, there would have been a good chance they could have gotten him in the offseason. Also, why would you offer him $420 million now if you're only bidding against yourself? At least wait until free agency from the Red Sox sides.
At least $350 million.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Now, I am very, very happy that you just brought up the Cubs. Before I go on here, remember 202-319-5106 if you guys want to call in and discuss anything about what we're talking about. I'm very happy that you just brought up the Cubs because I want to talk about a situation that could very much happen in the next couple weeks here. Yes, Kris Bryant. But think about this. We just saw one of the generational talents in baseball be traded as part of a salary dump. What do the Cubs have right now that they want to get rid of desperately? 2 huge contracts that they would love the salary dump. Could Kris Bryant be used in a trade in another salary dump like we just saw with Mookie Betts to a team who's needing a third baseman? Can you see a team taking on maybe the Jason Hayward or John Lester contract in exchange for a prospect and getting Kris Bryant?
Yes, but do you also mean Darvish instead of Lester? This is the last year of Lester's deal.
Is Lester the last one?
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Lester's
you're right.
Darvish, right?
I did mean Darvish, yes. I was thinking John Lester because we were just talking about
yes,
Darvish or Jason Hayward.
Do I think that could happen?
Yes.
To whom? The Phillies potentially.
Phillies or Nats are the 2 I see, right?
Or Braves maybe.
Because
they lost Donaldson.
I don't think the Braves are really doing anything else.
And I know the rumor the Heat has backed off a little bit, but what about a Bryant for Arenado swap that was discussed last week?
That was discussed last week, and that would be very
I think people
interesting.
forget how good Kris Bryant is.
Chris Bryant is a superstar. I think a lot of people are forgetting he won the MVP 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that he just might be the best third baseman in baseball.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I mean, Nolan Arenado's pretty darn good.
I know, but like I think people forget how good Kris Bryant is when he's healthy.
No, I agree with you 100%.
I think-
He might be better offensively than Nolan Arenado. All the way around, I'd still give it to Arenado. But yeah, offensively, a lot of people forget about how good Kris Bryant is. But I'm telling you what, if I'm the Cubs and I'm seeing another, first of all, the Ricketts who are owners who are incredibly cheap and also incredibly rich who are trying to get rid of some contracts here and gain that all very important financial flexibility, I'm looking at the Red Sox trade and saying, damn, well, we could go ahead and give up Kris Bryant, who, one, we just beat him in a grievance case. He's not very happy with us right now. And two, probably going to walk anyway.
And he has one more year.
And
left,
he has one more year than
get
Betts.
more in return.
Why not do it now? Try to get a big return, and at the same time, we could get rid of Jason Hayward's contract, or we could get rid of Yu Darvish's contract. And I'll tell you what, looking at a guy like Yu Darvish, and you want to couple him with Kris Bryant to a team like, say, the Phillies, they take that on instantly.
Yeah, and I think it would be a huge mistake for the Cubs to trade Bryant. I know I've gone on here and said that multiple times, but Kris Bryant's one of the best third basemen in baseball. He's a top 15 player in baseball. He's a phenomenal talent, not like the generational type talent as Betts, but pretty damn close. But people forget how he was regarded through his first 3 or 4 years in the league before the shoulder injury. He's pretty close to that other world. He is in that otherworldly talent pool.
There's a reason the Cubs called him up late so they could get an extra year of him. Let's put it that way. There is a reason.
I'm not wording it right, but he's a phenomenal talent, better than most people in the major leagues. It would be a huge mistake for the Cubs to trade him.
I would agree.
If you're the Phillies,
and you have Phillies? Yes.
and you have the chance to get Kris Bryant and Yu Darvish, who was pretty good last year.
Was pretty good in the second half.
You do whatever you can to make that happen.
Bohm, Howard, Stott, I don't care who it is. Gone in a heartbeat. I want Kris Bryant on the team. I don't care if it's for 2 years. Because you're looking at a team right now who is very good and is part of a division with other very good, if not better, teams. You need to do something to distinguish yourself from your teams. Kris Bryant distinguishes yourself from those teams.
And the difference between the Phillies and the Dodgers, if the Phillies were to get Bryant and Darvish somehow, the Dodgers didn't really need David Price. Price, yes, he helps them, but he wasn't that big of a piece in their rotation.
I think he's a perfect replacement for Ryu.
He's a good replacement for Ryu.
Say that, but I mean,
but they could have survived without him. Is the point?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They would survive without him. But the Phillies, they could really use a guy like Yu Darvish.
And even if he's not great, just to get a guy in there,
get Vince Velasquez out of that
rotation, to get him out of there, to get Eflin out of there,
putting Yu Darvish instead.
I would take that anytime. No, and I agree. And look, and all season long, we've been hearing the reports, well, they don't want to go over the luxury tax. They don't want to go over the luxury tax. But John Middleton, the owner of the Phillies, has always said, when it comes to me, and if I think there is one move that is going to put us above and be able to contend deep into the playoffs in the World Series, if it puts us over the luxury tax, then so be it. We'll go into the luxury tax. I don't think right now they are at, I believe they have 11 or 12 million left.
Their payroll's really that high? I just didn't realize it was that high.
It's pretty high, but you have to remember that they're
just because they spent so much last offseason.
No, well, it's not only that. You have to remember that after the season, we're gaining almost $40 million once Arrieta comes off the books because he's making an unbelievable amount of money.
But that wasn't front loaded.
No,
it was 33
that was not front loaded. Yeah, But yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think there has been a move so far that Matt Klentak and John Middleton have looked at and said, okay, this is what we're willing to go over the luxury tax. The one that people were mad about, why didn't they sign Betances? Yeah, it would have put them almost $1 million over the luxury tax, but it's Betances. We need bullpen help. That made sense. That's not the difference between you and the World Series. Kris Bryant could be the difference between the Phillies and going deep in the playoffs and not even making the playoffs.
I don't know if the Phillies got Bryant and Darvish, Dodgers are still way over them.
No, I'm saying getting deep
in
the playoffs.
They closed the gap, but
if you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. We know that. And we're getting a call here, so we're going to go ahead and take that real quick. Hello, caller.
Hey, guys. What's going on? How you all doing tonight?
Hey, good. Who do we have on the air tonight?
Oh, we got Scott on the air.
Scott, how you doing, man?
Catholic University. Yeah, good. Enjoying the show so far.
Thank you, Scott.
Not too sure if you guys touched on it, but I saw a little article today about Pete Rose filing for reinstatement again.
Yes.
That's
we haven't
fantastic.
touched on it yet, but yes, I saw that.
Yeah, Pete Rose is a guy, I think I was 8 years old and I went to Las Vegas, and Pete Rose was signing autographs and trying to rally support to get reinstated then. It's been 10 years, and I know he's citing a lot of the Astros scandal.
Yeah.
saying that we have to have one set of rules for everyone to play by. I just wanted to hear what you guys thought about that.
That's a fantastic point, Scott, because he's got a fantastic point as well. You see all these Astros players getting off almost scot-free, and he has a good case. Well, I didn't get off scot-free.
I think he's bringing it up at a perfect time, but I'm just not sure what Manfred is going to do about it.
I think it's a very hot topic issue. Pete Rose is kind of like the MLB's push that they kept the game clean and they were able to do it, and they don't tolerate that. But
yeah,
like
that.
You guys are saying Jose Altuve still swings a bat every day, and
yeah, that's a very good point.
Field, so.
Let me ask you this, Scott: if Pete Rose is reinstated and he's on the Hall of Fame ballot next year, and you have a vote, would you vote for him?
I mean, numbers don't lie, and they've only become more prominent in the game. I mean, most hits of all time, really. Can't argue with it, the guy was electric. I wish I got to see him play growing up.
I couldn't agree more. I think he's Hall of Famer through and through.
Right? Same page over there with you guys. You think you could vote him in?
If Pete Rose is ever going to get reinstated, now's the time.
I agree, and I would, to answer your question there, I would without a doubt vote for Pete Rose.
He should definitely be on the ballot, and it should be up to the voters. Like he should be given that chance to let the voters decide yes or no, just like for guys like Bonds and Sosa and McGuire and all them.
Definitely.
I agree. Well, hey, thank you so much for calling in, Scott.
Thanks,
Very
Scott.
great
Have a good
point.
one.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Awesome. Keep it up.
Take care.
Talk to you guys.
An excellent point there brought up. We were going to get to that later in the broadcast, but thanks for bringing that up there, Scott.
What a big day in baseball.
Yeah,
I mean, Pete Rose is shoved to the
huge
back
day.
of the show because we got David Price and Mookie Betts being traded. Can I touch on Price real quick?
Go
Because we
for
haven't
it,
really
yeah,
touched on Price.
yeah.
This is a guy who's been an ace almost his whole career, and now he's an afterthought in a big salary. Like, he's the salary dump, but he's still the afterthought in the trade.
Yeah.
But I think something that will really help him in this trade is going from the AL to the NL. He's pitching the AL East his whole career except for the 1 year with the Tigers. So he's pitching arguably the toughest division in baseball for the entirety of his career, and he's had a very good career. He's put up great numbers, but he's going now from the AL East and some cold weather climates like Boston to NL West. NL got the pitcher batting ninth, got warm weather all year round. I think this can help him extend his career a lot.
Has he played on an NL team
Never.
before?
No, this is his first
Rays,
time.
Tigers for a year.
Blue Jays
heavier than the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So except for that 1 year with the Tigers, he's been in the AL East his whole career.
Yeah.
And now he gets to go to the NL where it's going to get easier. The lineups are going to be easier because you have the pitcher at the end, warmer weather. You have the Rockies and the Giants in that division. You have a pitcher-friendly park in Petco Park in San Diego, pitcher-friendly park in San Francisco, pitcher-friendly park for the most part in Dodger Stadium. Like, you got some pitcher-friendly parks.
Arizona's pretty pitcher-friendly.
Yeah.
Nah,
Well,
Arizona's
with the
a hitter's
humidor,
park.
I guess.
Yeah.
not,
Arizona's
but-
hitting park.
that division is going to help him extend his career.
You think so? He's got 2 years left, I believe, right?
Three.
Okay.
3 years and $96 million, 48 of which will be paid by the Dodgers, the other 48 by the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's a very good point about Price there, yeah. Going back on Pete Rose a bit, though, that's a funny point. Normally throughout the offseason, we get news like that with Pete Rose pulling some stunt, putting in a
But now it's
reinstatement.
legit.
Yeah, normally that would be the front of the news here for us, but no, what a crazy couple past days in baseball. Yeah, I think it is, like you said, the perfect time for Pete Rose to do this because he picked a time when everyone's worried about everyone's worried and outraged about all the cheating, rightfully so, of course, and just kind of put his nose in there and like, you know what? Hey, why did I get punished for this and the players for this did not? The players were the ones who were cheating, and I don't see any players getting punished. So I think it was a very good last ditch effort here from Pete Rose. I shouldn't say last ditch because I'm sure that he's going to be trying through and through once this fails and he doesn't get reinstated. And you know what? We've talked about this on the show before, but I think Pete Rose is going to he's not going to go away until he dies, and once he dies, they'll wait a couple years and they'll go ahead and put him in the Hall of Fame. I think that's fair to say.
I'm going to go out and say that I think that what the Astros did was much worse than what Pete Rose did. Pete Rose should not be banned for life. That's a clear gimme. And if you're not going to suspend any of the players for what they did, but you ban Pete Rose for life, that's just absolutely unfair. That's absolutely ludicrous, for crying out loud. Just an atrocity. You need to make it fair on both sides. This is not fair.
I do want to
especially Pete
point
Rose's
out, though,
case.
I think a lot of people forget about one of the other big reasons that Pete Rose is hated. He lied about this for many years.
15 years, to be exact.
15,
Yes, that's
and
true.
then did that so he could sell a book as a tell-all.
That's the biggest
and get
thing.
rich off
That's
of
the
it.
biggest thing for me. Like, he's
Yeah.
one of the greatest players to ever play this game. But if he just came out and admitted it right away, he would have been on the ballot and he would have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. But the fact that he
But he
lied about it
didn't.
for 15 years, like MLB knew he was doing it. He knew he was doing it. Why didn't he just say it?
because he wanted to release his book 15 years later and make money.
Yes, but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. Yes, of
like
course.
they knew he was betting before he lied to them.
Yes.
So like, why would he even have to try to cover it up for 15 long years?
That's my only thing that I would say with Pete Rose is there's probably a lot of sour taste in a lot of the voters' mouths still about.
But
that
he did
whole
this
thing.
to himself.
He did?
He did this to himself. And like, I wish Pete Rose like didn't do this so he could be in the Hall of Fame because he's one of the greatest hitters to ever pick up a bat. But he did this to himself. At the end of the day, he has nobody to blame but himself.
He did. But as for his effort today, I gotta say, good timing on there for you, Pete Rose.
I don't think he'll get reinstated.
You don't? No, not
Really?
from this. You
No.
ever?
No. From this.
Oh, no. I don't think anyone thinks he's going to from
Probably
this.
not.
Manfred's going to look at this and then crumple it up and throw it in the trash off his desk, I'm pretty sure. There's no way that this is working. But, hey, good time to make a public stir and get your name back out there. And you know Pete Rose, anytime he can get his name out in public, it's pretty good, when it's not for, allegations with 14-year-old girlfriends. But besides that, any other time his name's in the news, they love that. He loves that. So, like Scott said when he called in, he's in Vegas pretty much every weekend signing autographs, begging people.
$200, I believe.
Yeah, it's up there. I don't know if it's 200, but it's
Maybe
pretty
100.
expensive. Let me say this. Every single December Philadelphia sports show that I've been to, he's always there. He was in Cooperstown when I was there last summer. He was in, oh my gosh, he's been everywhere. He goes wherever you want to sign autographs. He goes across the country.
That's where the money's at. He's got to do it.
That's where the money is, yeah. He kind of needs some of that being not exactly instated with baseball right now. So, yeah, very interesting point about Pete Rose there. We shall see what comes of it. Not expecting a whole lot, but, you never know. Anything is possible there. So, yeah, with that said, is there anything else we want to touch on as we kind of leave the blockbuster Mookie Betts, David Price, Kenta Maeda trade
I wonder how
behind?
soon the Kris Bryant rumors will pick up because spring training is in a week, and you want to start the season with everyone intact. Like if the Cubs are going to get this done, they have to get it done soon because
Yes.
If they don't get it done soon, you might as well wait till the deadline, see where you're at because that division's still wide open.
Yes.
So, like, the Cubs shouldn't just punt on this season. That division's still wide open. The Brewers have gotten worse. The Cubs have done nothing to get better. The Cardinals lost Ozuna and have done nothing to get better. The Reds are the only team that have made significant moves this offseason. Oh, and the Pirates are the Pirates. They have a $43 million payroll. The Red Sox are paying David Price more to pitch for another team than the Pirates are paying their entire team. Let that sink in.
That is utterly ridiculous.
But the Cubs just trading Bryant would, A, be dumb to not try to re-sign one of your best players, and B, you can still win that division in 2020. I mean, this division's wide open. You need pitching, but you have the pieces in place with Bryant, Baez, Rizzo, Contreras. You have the core there. You have a new manager in David Ross. Let's see what can happen. Let's see what can happen in an up-for-grabs division. Maybe you surprise whoever you play in the LDS and you win a round.
But at the same time, like we said earlier, you got to remember, with him having that extra year of control there, he is going to have a lot more intrigue from a lot of teams who are interested in him.
Absolutely.
And we have another call here, so we're going to go ahead and take that real quick. Hello, caller.
Hey, how are you doing this week? This is Dr. Rob.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Hey, what I want to talk about this week is a little bit more Pete Rose.
Pete Rose,
yeah, perfect.
Just in the news. That's perfect.
Yes, I understand that he's petitioned to have his suspension removed because of the call plane scandal or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, now here's my question. What was the commission? Who was the commissioner that kicked him out of baseball?
That would be
For
A.
getting the white
Bartlett
flag?
Giamanti,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yes.
Okay, now what part did his son play in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Ooh. Did the commissioner's son?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Oh, wait,
Do
hold
you
on.
guys
Let me
know?
think about this.
Wait. How
Don't
old is his
Google it.
son?
Don't Google it.
No, we're not going to Google it.
No, how old is his son?
Is his son
Well, his son's clearly in his 40s.
he's in his
Yeah.
40s, right? Okay. Am I allowed to ask for a hint?
Well, you can. What would you like?
All right. Was it a prominent role, or are we talking like a background character?
No, it was a fairly minor role.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh,
He
man.
played a villain.
But a villain. Oh, my goodness. This is a really good trivia fact. I do not know. Robbie, do you have any idea?
40s, played a villain. It would be a lot easier if we knew who the hero was that he was the villain for.
Well, no, that would give it away,
That would give it
though.
away. Yeah.
I'll give it to you. You want me to just give it to you?
Sure, yeah. I don't think we're going to get it.
The son is Paul Giamatti, who's a famous actor,
Okay.
and who played John Adams in the HBO series,
Okay.
and played the manager for Russell Crowe in Cinderella Man.
Oh.
Okay.
In the reboot of Spider-Man with Andrew, what
He was
his name?
Rhino.
He played the Rhino.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I
There
remember
we
him.
go.
I was going to get when he said Paul Giamatti, I was going to guess the Rhino, but I was like, I'm not sure about this one.
How about that? I did not know that.
It was a very bit part. He played a Russian gangster or something like that.
He was in the
that gets
movie
caught
for
in a
3
bank robbery.
minutes.
Yes, he was. Yes. They were a
so
very
he
good
probably
3
got
minutes.
Pretty good check for that 3 minutes.
So what do you think about Pete Rose? Do you think he should be reinstated or not? Based off of his...
Absolutely not.
No, okay.
Absolutely not. And I thought about this for a long time. You got to temper justice with mercy.
Right.
Now, it was kind of a funny story. I used to work with a guy at the IRS who was when I was a revenue agent, and those are technical tax experts.
Right.
And he was asked to be on the Pete Rose investigation and calculate the tax due knowing.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
And
That's
he did not because he was such a baseball fan.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
And so he just get somebody else. But here's why. He pleaded to a felony, and he only got like 3 months. Now, it costs about 30 to 40 grand to keep a prisoner in federal prison.
Right.
And so they really try to keep people who are nonviolent out. So you have to find other ways of punishment besides incarceration.
Right.
Because when you incarcerate somebody, you are now responsible for them like they were a newborn baby.
Mm-hmm.
You take care of their medical care, their food, everything. You got to keep them safe. Especially celebrities or old people because they're vulnerable.
Right.
Because people want, if you're Mike Tyson in prison, everybody wants to kick your butt and say they kicked Mike's butt.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're old, you can't fend for yourself.
Right.
Or if you're sick. Okay, so you got to have some sort of alternative form of punishment. What really hurt Pete Rose was not being in the Hall of Fame.
Right. So you're saying this is the perfect punishment for him is just keeping him out
This
of
is the perfect
the Hall of
punishment. I
Fame
could have
forever.
done without the jail time.
Right.
I bet he would have gone to jail for 3 years.
I think he
Well,
would have gone
he
to
would
jail for the
trade
rest
that.
of his life if that means he could be in the Hall of Fame, honestly.
He'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe put him in posthumously, but that's probably a little late for him.
Yeah, no, like that may end up happening, but I don't know if I don't see him getting reinstated anytime soon, at least.
No, but can I draw another, since we're a Catholic, I'll draw another kind of analogy or another comparison.
Sure. Yeah.
Go for it.
Which kind of hurts my example. I'll give you this. There was a priest down in Las Vegas. And I study. I don't know if I said this in my class. I study Catholic priest financial fraud and the pattern. So there was a priest out in Vegas who was the vicar general, which means like the number 2 guy that died. And he was at a parish. He was also pastor of a parish, and he stole $650,000.
Wow.
Ooh.
And he had a gambling problem. Now we go into why he did it and all that, but he got 3 years in federal prison.
Okay.
He comes out. Now, you can say he had a gambling addiction and all that, and he served his time, and I presume he paid it back. I don't know. I haven't checked into that. He gets reinstated as a priest. He transfers to the Eastern Rite Church, which is which is part of Rome, but it's our wonderful brothers in the East.
Right.
Right.
And now he is a priest in good standing in the Eastern Rite, and is back to being judicial vicar, which is a high-ranking position. And I think,
Okay.
I'm not sure how much Pete Rose cheated on his taxes, but it's kind of similar. So the priest gets his job back after serving a longer jail sentence, but he gets forgiveness. So he wasn't kicked out forever.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, if it's good enough for the clergy,
Is it good
you
enough
have to sign a forgiveness.
Right. Then what's the
Why
forgiveness
not
for Pete
Rose?
Rose? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the priest, okay, let me follow this, and I apologize, I'll stop in a second. The priest stole from his parishioners, which is a really terrible thing.
Right.
Pete Rose got caught for cheating on his taxes, not reporting 3% of his income.
Right. And then he lied about all his gambling stuff for
And
15
he lied
years.
about it.
Yeah, I think that
But-
was the biggest thing, him lying about it
Yeah.
for 15 years.
Right. So that kind of goes in Pete Rose's favor. Yeah, it's a tough one. I can see them going the other way, but I got to say you got to keep them out.
Right.
That's very fair.
I would
yeah.
agree.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. So that's okay. My hint for the week.
All
All
right.
right.
Go ahead.
I know everybody's listening for that, and you feel free to repeat it on the air, by the way, because I know some people might listen around 8:50.
All right.
It is very important to understand, if you're an investor, what is better to get it. If you have 2 people come to you with an investment, one says, I will pay you simple interest, and the other person says, I will pay you compound interest on your investment,
Yeah.
assuming the same amount, the same rate of interest, in the same time. What is the better investment? All else being equal.
Could you repeat it again? We lost you there for a little bit.
I know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had this iPhone 6. And,
Oh, that's okay.
I
No
think-
problem.
No worries. No worries.
Good.
Okay, here's the deal. If you're an investor and you have two separate investments, everything's the same. It's the
Right.
same time, the same principal, and the same interest,
Mhm.
and the same the same return.
Right.
But one investment pays you simple interest, and the other investment pays you compound interest.
Right.
What is better? What's the better investment?
And there you have
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
The official hint
That's
of the
it.
week. Thank you very much for calling in.
All
We
right,
really
hey, I'll see you guys
appreciated your
next week.
story. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you, Professor Warren. Have a
All right,
good
take
one.
care.
Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, so there you have it again. The official hint of the week for, what is the class again?
Finance 226.
Finance 226. Remember, Finance 226 students, go ahead, listen in to NPNC.
Myself included.
Yes, for your weekly hint there. But with that said, yeah. Hey, look, we got
Two
another
callers
person
on Pete
calling
Rose.
Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting to see. We have all the Mookie Betts news, but callers want to talk about Pete Rose tonight. And it really is a perplexing situation because you have
He's
the
always
one
going to
end.
garner a reaction.
He is.
Whatever side you're on, he's always gonna draw attention and get a reaction, and I think that's what's great about it.
And the other thing is, he's going to get a reaction no matter what generation either. People calling in tonight, now, of course, not including our last caller, but when we had Scott call in earlier, these are people who didn't even watch him play and still have strong opinions about him. It's passed through the generations. I mean, I'm sure everyone here can say that their parents passed down their, was certain opinion of Pete
I've
Rose and
watched a
whatever
bunch
it
of
be.
Pete Rose highlights on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're people who didn't even see Pete Rose play, and we still have the strong opinions about him. Like James said, Pete Rose always going to garner strong reactions, and I think that's part of the charm of, if you will, of Pete Rose there.
He was very controversial, to say the least. So I think that might
yeah.
influence why people have
little
such strong
bit.
opinions on him.
And the other thing is, he seems to be loved by the teams a lot that he played for. I know the Reds absolutely loved him. Up until 2 years ago, I'm sure you guys know, he was about to be inducted into the Phillies Wall of Fame.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the Phillies fans love Pete Rose. Like, when he came over, he was the piece that we needed to get over the edge to win the World Series, our first World Series in 1980. But the problem was, and I'm sure you guys remember this, he wasn't exactly inducted into the Wall of Fame after they found out there were some allegations from when he may have pursued some
we
younger
probably
women.
shouldn't get into that.
But no, but I think it just goes to show, like, there is always going to be a strong reaction, whether you absolutely love him or you absolutely hate him. Pete Rose, an integral part of baseball history.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So yeah, with that said, we finished up on the Mookie Betts stuff. Kris Bryant, you were making an interesting point before we got the caller there, and I gotta say, if he's not traded before spring training, I don't really see him being traded until next offseason as well, unless the Cubs are in an absolutely terrible place
At the deadline.
at the deadline. But I'm gonna be bold, and I haven't made a hot take on here for a while. I gotta follow after my man Robbie Cruz here and make a hot take on air, and I'm gonna say Kris Bryant is going to be wearing a different uniform in spring training. I don't know who it's going to be.
Wow.
But I'm going to say Kris Bryant's going to be traded because I think the Cubs are, especially their greedy owners, are licking their lips at this Mookie Betts trade and saying, hey, we can get rid of Jason Hayward, we can get rid of Yu Darvish, and hey, you know what? Kris Bryant already hates us anyway. We're not going to re-sign him. Let's get something for him now.
We
while his
could both
value's
be right
high.
by the deadline about our third baseman because I said Arenado would be wearing a different uniform
did.
by July 31st.
I'm still saying no, Arenado's not getting traded.
What about Kris
I don't
Bryant?
think Kris Bryant's getting traded before the season starts. I
Wow.
think Bryant, if he will get traded, if he does get traded, it will be next offseason.
All I'm saying is
You don't see best players in the world usually get traded at
no,
the
just saw
deadline.
yeah,
one.
we just saw one though. That's
No,
what I'm
I
saying.
said at the
Anything
deadline.
could happen.
At the
Oh,
deadline.
at the deadline. Okay, that's fair.
At the deadline.
That's fair.
By the way,
yeah.
something that we didn't talk about today.
What's that?
Ubaldo Jimenez back to the Rockies.
Yes, how about
Ubaldo.
that? Is that a minor league deal, right?
Major league deal.
Major league deal.
Yeah.
Ubaldo Jimenez sit down. Did he even pitch last 2 years? I don't even think he did.
No,
Wait,
he
when
has-
was this
he
reported?
pitched
I
last year.
actually did
no,
not
I think
even
it was a
see
minor
it.
league deal.
It had to be minor.
I thought it
league
was.
deal.
I think it's a minor.
Either way, that's
I
still
think it's a minor league
pretty
deal.
awesome.
Ubaldo Jimenez, former. I'm still pretty sure he's considered the greatest pitcher in their organization's history, right? Who else would it be?
No,
it has to be
He won
him.
a Cy Young there.
It's Ubaldo Jimenez. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ubaldo, did he actually sign
He
today?
did. Yeah, he did. Julius Chassin, maybe? No.
I did
Yeah,
not.
minor league deal. Minor league deal.
Jorge De La Rosa?
No, I think
Minor league deal.
I think it's Ubaldo Jimenez. I gotta say, he's probably
Yeah,
the best.
no, it is Jimenez.
Yeah, non-roster invite to spring training. Wow.
2010, Ubaldo Jimenez. Whew.
Have we seen Ubaldo Jimenez throw a pinch since he gave up the
No.
when Encarnacion home run?
No.
No, that was the last time we
That
saw
was
him.
the
That
last
was
time we
actually
saw
the
him
last
pitch.
time we saw him throw a pitch.
Wow.
Would you like me to play the audio?
The audio of what's his face losing his mind, no doubt
Of
about it.
Encarnacion?
Of Encarnacion, yeah, that's right. I remember watching that live. The infamous Zach Britton picture of him waiting in the bullpen to come in.
And then his, quote, game-used jersey, end quote, sold for $750 in an auction.
Did it really?
It was not game used
That is absolutely hilarious. I actually didn't know that.
because he didn't play in the game.
No, he did not. That's also I believe that was the game that cost Buck Showalter his job, was it not? Or was it the year after?
He was there.
It was the year
He
after.
got fired in 2018.
That's what it was. Okay, but still,
But
not a great
That
position.
was a very dumb move.
I gotta say,
It's not
I
very
had my
good.
money on the Orioles in that game. I thought that they really could pull it through, but you know what? Ubaldo Jimenez, what a guy! Will always live in infamy there in Baltimore Orioles hearts. Also
So,
fun to remember, he
well-
spent a lot of time in Cleveland as well.
Yeah,
did he
he
not?
did.
Yeah, yeah.
So will Mookie change his number?
Mookie, will he change his number?
No.
I don't think so.
Let's
Why
talk
would
about
he?
something, you know.
You know what? If he does, oh no, I was gonna say if he does, I think he's going to change it to either 8 or 24.
for Kobe.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty
if he
cool.
does that,
Where was he born, by the way?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay.
because
I
I
didn't
know
think
he
was an LA.
he was a big. I'm pretty sure he was a big Kobe Bryant fan.
Well, who wasn't? He's Kobe Bryant. I mean, hey, and also to mention, I don't think that we've had a show since that happened. I believe
Last
that was.
week.
Yeah, we have.
Did
we have the show?
We
Last
had
week
a show last week.
Was it Tuesday? Okay, we
Yeah,
did
yeah,
have it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was.
Because it was 2 Sundays ago.
It was 2 Sundays ago. That's right. Yeah, very unfortunate to hear that. But yes, I don't think he's gonna change the number. I think 50 is good on him. I think it was.
One other thing regarding the Red Sox. I know we've talked a lot about the Red Sox tonight.
Yes. Mhm.
With this financial flexibility that they have now, they better sign Devers to an extension.
I would hope so.
They have no
Well,
excuse now to not
What
sign
he got?
Devers.
What
Well-
5th in MVP voting last year, right? Or was he lower?
I think he was
He
7th
was,
or 8th.
I thought he was 4th. Wait, so when is Devers?
He's got a while.
Yeah, he's got a
But
while.
still.
2023, but
But
lock
still,
him up
lock
to
him up.
a Bregman or Acuna type extension,
Yes, I would agree.
I
with
like
that.
those the shorter deals that are worth.
and hire a
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah, they still need one of
Okay,
those.
but I do think a big reason why they're waiting to hire either Ron Renicky or Carlos Febas is because they just want to make sure they're cleared in MLB's investigation. And I do think they're.
So you think it's one of those two, by the way?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Think it'll be
I
one of
think-
those two.
yeah.
And I
No,
don't-
Jason Varitek.
No, and I don't think the Red Sox did anything wrong because their players were so adamant at winter weekend that they didn't do anything wrong. Like if they really had something to hide, 6 or 7 guys wouldn't be coming out saying we didn't do anything wrong. Like that would just be foolish.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I mean, I think they're just waiting for the investigation to clear, so they don't have to fire 2 managers in the same offseason.
That would be really unfortunate. That would be a.
I understand why they're
a
waiting.
big
but
Mets move there.
TikTok MLB, hurry up.
LOL Mets.
Hey, let's talk about the Mets real quick before we end this show here. Apparently, their deal to sell the team to Steve Cohen fell through.
Yeah, I have. It's on life support. I haven't really looked much into it, but yeah, that's all I read about it because apparently the Wilpons changed the deal at the last minute. Mets fans, I feel even more badly for you
The
because you guys continue to suffer. You have a great young core there with Alonso and McNeil. You have one of the best pitchers in baseball, if not the best, in DeGrom. But your owners can't get out of the way of themselves.
To me, that might have been the lowest point of the low for the Mets this decade.
Not firing their manager before he managed a single game.
We're not
I
losing
mean,
the World Series?
I mean, losing the World Series, I don't think it's that bad, but I think it's icing on the cake. How about that?
Yeah, not exactly a great look for them. I saw a fantastic tweet earlier today.
There's no reason
About-
this shouldn't have gone through.
No, about the deal falling through. Just reminding everyone, the Mets can be sold as much as they want, but the real owner of the Mets will always be Chase Utley. And I think we can all agree on that with his absolutely fantastic stats and his ownage of that right field line there at Citi Field. So with that said, I think that's going to about wrap it up. Why don't we leave, as we have been doing the past couple weeks, with some predictions here. When we come to do the show in a week's time, will there be Kris Bryant rumors hot on the stove like there were Mookie Betts rumors, yes or no?
Yes.
Robbie?
I'm not sure if he'll be traded, but
No, not
definitely
traded.
rumors.
Just
Rumors.
stove will be getting hot.
Yes, absolutely.
Define rumors like
It's gonna take time to develop for a trade. We know
Without
that.
question. I'm not saying he's going to be traded in a week.
yeah.
All right, Robbie, define rumors. I'm going to say, remember the past week, all we've heard is Padres and Dodgers. They're really in on
Yes.
Mookie Betts. They're really in. Are we going to be hearing Phillies and Nats, Braves, really in on Kris Bryant? Really in on Kris Bryant? Are we going to be hearing that next week?
Can I just throw out a dark horse maybe
Yes.
for rumors?
Sure.
Maybe the Texas Rangers because they. I mean,
Do they have the prospects to get it done, though?
They might. You just never know. I'm just throwing out a dark horse.
That's
Probably
fair.
not going to happen, but
So what do you think, Robbie?
no.
No. Any particular reason?
No.
Any particular
It's-
reason?
a defiant.
That was a very big no,
I
yeah.
know we will not be hearing Kris Bryant rumors like we heard Mookie Betts rumors. Remember what Jeff Passan said the other day about the Mookie Betts rumors?
What did Jeff Passan say the other day?
He said that people were acting like animals over it, and I don't think he's going to say that about the Kris Bryant rumors.
We will have to see what
a
happens
caller
here.
coming in.
We do have a call here at the end of the show. Let's go ahead and take that right away. Hello, caller. You're on air. Who are we talking to?
Hey, what's going on? Hello? No,
Hello?
This is Tynan.
Hi. Who do we got on the air?
This is Tynan.
What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Sorry. So I got 2 questions for you real quick.
Yeah,
Sure.
So my first question is, I accidentally missed the hint for Dr. Rob, so I was just wondering what that was, and then I'll ask my baseball question after.
Sure, right ahead. James, you want to go ahead and read that for him?
Yeah, so our hint from Dr. Rob was, if you're an investor and there's one investment that pays simple interest and another investment that pays compound interest, which one is better?
Okay, that's it? That's all it was?
Yeah, that's all it was.
Also, for future,
Okay.
if you do miss it, you can follow our Twitter at @PastimeCap. You can listen to the show recorded there, and the answer will be in there.
Oh, okay, awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. What was your baseball question?
All right, my baseball question is, you guys were talking about the Mets a little bit.
Yes.
So, what's your opinion on Bobby Bonilla?
On Bobby
Oh.
Bonilla?
That he makes more money than like Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil.
That's a good point.
I think Bobby Bonilla is a genius.
He's a genius.
the
Mets
way he
screwed
structured the
themselves.
The way he
contract.
structured
yeah.
the contract.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. Personally, I think Bobby Bonilla is a pretty
The Mets
genius.
should have just
and-
paid him the $6 million right away.
And he's still going to be getting paid after Bryce Harper's entire contract is done, to put
Yeah.
that into perspective. So that's my opinion on Bobby Bonilla there.
Well, I appreciate it. Just wanted to see what you guys were. I'm a big Mets fan, so I just wanted to.
How you feeling about this season? You think you guys are going to be doing anything big?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, maybe we get Pete Alonso. You never know. I mean, like maybe Pete Alonso does something special. I mean, he did a bad big year last year. So I mean, we'll see what happens this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for something. Maybe we raise a pennant. Who knows?
Yeah,
Hey.
you never know.
Who knows? Anything's possible in baseball. Thanks so much for calling in. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
Tynan. Have a good
Any
one.
Mets.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, it is indeed true. Anything can happen in baseball, even the success of the New York Mets, although it seems like that is quite rare in the past and also probably will be in the future. But you know what? Anything's possible. We could see anyone in the World Series. We could see anyone winning a pennant. Who knows? Even the Mets. The Mets, unfortunately. But with that
Okay.
said, what was that?
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You going to come and defend the Mets here for a second?
That Jacob deGrom contract's looking like a steal.
Jacob deGrom contract was pretty good. I'll give them that. But as we said earlier, the owners keep getting in the way of
Tough
themselves.
division.
And a
Anything
very
could
tough
happen.
division. Anything
Yeah.
indeed could happen. So with that said, that's going to about wrap up tonight's edition of Nation's Pastime in the Nation's Capital. Like we just said, if you want to follow all of the stuff that's going to keep you up to date with our show and also listen to our shows posted the day after, go ahead, please follow our Twitter. Love to get some more followers on there. It's at @NatPastimeCap. That is at @NatPastimeCap. That's our Twitter. Please go ahead, give us a follow, and we will be live again next week here on WCUA Radio from 8 p.m. to around 9 p.m. And with that said, have a fantastic rest of your night. Hopefully next week we'll be coming to you with some more hot stove rumors, whether it be about Kris Bryant, Nolan Arenado, or anyone in between. Have a good night, everyone.